Good.
On behalf of the International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies, I welcome you all to the International Textual Workshop on Dashashloki of Sri Shankaracharya, which commences today. Let's begin the program with an invocation.
Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Viditakhila Shastra Sudha Jaladhe Mahitopanishad Kadhita Dhanidhi Hridayi Kalayi Vimalam Charanam Bhava Shankara Deshika Me Sharanam Bhava Shankara Deshika Me Sharanam Bhava Shankara Deshika Me Sharanam. Greetings to Professor Vijay Kumar, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maharshi Panini Vishwavidyalaya, as well as Professor Srinivas, my good friend, esteemed scholar, who will be the resource person, and all those who are participating in this international textual workshop. From the desk of director, I greet you all and request Dr. Ramya to have further proceedings.
I invite Dr. Shiba, Assistant Director of International School of Sri Shankaracharya Studies, for the welcome address.
Namaste. Good evening to one and all. Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maharshi Panini Sanskrit Evam Vedic Vishwavidyalaya Ujjain, Professor C.G. Vijayakumaran Sir. Respected resource person of the International Textual Workshop on the Dashashloki, Professor K. Srinivasan Sir. Senior professors, distinguished scholars, friends, and my dear students, a very good evening to one and all. The International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies proudly presents yet another serious academic program, a 5-day online international textual workshop on the Dashashloki of Acharya Chandra. Today, we are lucky to have a reputed academician with administrative and governance experience, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maharshi Panini Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Ujjain, for inaugurating this workshop. With great pleasure and respect, let me introduce Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Vijayakumar Sir. He has his MA in Sanskrit from Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam. He was awarded with a PhD from Rashtriya Sanskrit Samsthan, New Delhi, has 21 years teaching experience and 8 years experience as faculty chairman and dean. He has delivered a series of lectures in USA and Doha as part of Sanskrit Prachara and Prasara. Professor Vijayakumar has 28 papers and 6 books to his credit. 7 PhD degrees and 18 MPhil degrees were awarded to scholars under his able guidance. Apart from academic experience, Professor Vijayakumar has the following administrative experiences also. Professor Vijayakumar Sir was the registrar of Kavikulla Guru Kalidasa Sanskrit University, Ramtek, from 1st July 2019 to 28th August 2021. Also has 6 years and of experience as Director, Board of Planning and Development, Kavikulla Guru Kalidasa Sanskrit University, Ramtek. Professor Vijayakumar Sir is also the recipient of several prestigious awards. Best Academician Award, Nagpur in the year 2019, Revati Pattathanam Award, Samskrita Bharati USA Award, and Award for Innovative Leadership and Entrepreneurship Award from an award from Kavikulla Guru Kalidasa Sanskrit University. Also hold various positions as Member Secretary, Management Council, Member Secretary, Academic Council, Chairman, Board of Studies of various departments. So on behalf of the International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies, Sri Shankaracharya University of Sanskrit Kanadi, I wholeheartedly and very proudly welcome the Honorable Vice Chancellor to inaugurate this program. Most welcome, Vijay Kumar sir. The veteran Sanskrit scholar, Professor K. Srinivasan sir, is our respected resource person of the 5-day International Textual Workshop on Deshashloki. Professor Srinivasan sir traditionally studied Sanskrit under the great Acharyas, Sri Kalyana Sundara Shastrigal and Sri Bala Subramanya Shastrigal. Professor Srinivasan sir has teaching experience of more than 35 years. The major publications of Professor Srinivasan sir include Tattvanusandhanam edition and translation. He is the editor of Stotras of Appaya Dikshita and also the editor of a giant text, Bhaktamara Darshan. So he's also served as the advisory member of the multi-volume Encyclopedia of Hinduism. His areas of interest are Vedanta, Mimamsa, and Alankara. Professor Srinivasan sir was invited by Hebrew University, Jerusalem, and also he was invited for the annual meeting of the prestigious American Academy of Religion, Chicago in the year 2008. Currently, Professor Srinivasan sir is actively engaged in the dissemination of Sanskrit wisdom, serving as the faculty in Kuppuswamy Institute, Chennai. On behalf of the International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies, I welcome our respected resource person, Dr. Srinivasan sir, to conduct the classes on Deshashloki. Welcome you, sir. Professor Sri Kalayam Nair, Director, International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies, is the source of inspiration behind this textual workshop. On behalf of ISSS, I extend a hearty welcome to our beloved Director, Sri Kalayam ma'am. Several senior professors, research scholars, and interested personalities from all over the world joined online in this program for listening to the interpretation of Deshashloki, Acharya Shankara's Deshashloki. On behalf of the International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies, I extend a warm welcome to all the distinguished senior professors and scholars to this academic event. Once again, I welcome one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva. It's now my honor to invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maharshi Panini Sanskrit Evam Vedic Vishwavidyalaya, Professor Vijay Kumar CG, to inaugurate the international workshop on Deshashloki and also speak a few words.
Namasabhaye Sabhavadibhyascha. Shankaracharya Samskrita Vishwavidyalayasya Antarashtriya Patana Vibhagena Ayojita Karyashala Yesha workshop on International Textual Workshop on Deshashloki iti Karyakramaha. Atra Mama Hutavati Dr. Srikala Nair Mohdaya. Etasya Chadurdinatmaka Karyashalayaha Acharyaha Srinivasan Mahodayaha Atra Upastitaha Pradhyapakaha Anye Samskrita Preminaha Chhatraha cha. Prathamameva aham kinchit kshamam yache karyantarena kinchit shigrameva anyatra gantavyam iti karanena tatra nimishadvayameva aham vaktum shaknomi iti kshamam yache. Esha karyashala bahu uttama karyashala kimartham ityukte Shankaracharyasya Deshashloki iti vishayah idanim अस्मिन् कालखण्डे एतादृशानां विषयाणाम् अध्ययनं पठनं च भारतीय विश्वविद्यालयेषु पूर्वकालापेक्षया अधिकतया भवन्ति इति आनन्दस्य विषयः। तत्र सद्य भारतीय ज्ञानपरम्परायाः चर्चा सर्वत्र भवति। सर्वराज्येषु सर्वप्रान्तेषु भारतीय ज्ञानपरम्परा विषये यदा वयम् आङ्ग्लभाषायां वदामः ब्रेन्स्टॉर्मिंग सत्राणि भवन्ति। तत्र कारणम् इदानीं विश्वे सर्वे एतादृश विषयं प्रति आकृष्टाः सन्ति। तस्मिन् सन्दर्भे शङ्कराचार्यस्य एकं भागं स्वीकृत्य एकं विषयं स्वीकृत्य अत्र 4 दिनेषु तस्मिन् विषये कार्यशाला भवति इति अभिनन्दनार्हः विषयः। सर्वेभ्यः अभिनन्दनानि। कारणं शङ्कराचार्यस्य महत्त्वम् इदानीं द्विगुणितं वर्तते। दशश्लोकी विषये तु आचार्यः कथयत्येव। कारणम् एतादृश अन्यत् किमपि नास्ति, अन्या या कापि कृतिः नास्ति एतादृशी अद्वैतवेदान्त तत्त्वम् अत्यन्त सरलया रीत्या प्रतिपादयति इति। दशश्लोकेषु पूर्णरूपेण अद्वैत सिद्धान्तं प्रतिपादयति शङ्कराचार्यः अनेन। तर्हि तत्तु इदानीम् आचार्यः प्रतिपादयति। परन्तु शङ्कराचार्यस्य एतदेव महत्त्वम् अस्ति, यदा राज्ये सर्वत्र राष्ट्रे सर्वत्र भिन्न भिन्न विचारसरणीभिः जनाः परस्परं विरुद्धमेव आचरन्ति स्म। यदा एकस्मिन् कालखण्डे तत्र राजकीय क्षेत्रे वा भवतु, तत्त्वचिन्तायां वा भवतु, अन्यथा धार्मिकविषयेषु वा भवतु, कुत्रापि एकः समन्वयः इति यत्र न आसीत्, तस्मिन् कालखण्डे शङ्कराचार्यः आभारतम् एतेषां सर्वेषामपि चिन्तनानां समन्वयं कर्तुं प्रयत्नं कृतवान् इति अद्यतनकालेपि तद् अत्यन्तं महत्त्वपूर्णविषयः अस्ति। कारणं समन्वयः इति भिन्नः विषयः। समन्वयः इति सर्वैः न शक्यते, तदर्थं महान् प्रयत्नः करणीयः भवति। तत्र बलेन तत् कर्तुं न शक्यते। तत्र तत्त्वचिन्तनेन, तत्त्वानाम् उपस्थापनेन, सर्वेषामपि समवायेन तत् करणीयं भवति। शङ्कराचार्यस्य महत्त्वं नाम तदेव अस्ति। कारणं यदा यस्मिन् कालखण्डे जनाः परस्परं विमुखाः, तत्त्वचिन्तायां वा अन्य सर्वेषु विषयेषु परस्परं विमुखाः आसन्, तस्मिन् कालखण्डे एतान् सर्वान् एकस्मिन् नेतृत्वे आनेतुं शङ्कराचार्यः सफलः जातः इति तस्य महत्त्वमस्ति। तत्र बलेन वा भवतु, अन्यथा किञ्चित् आक्रमणेन वा भवतु, अन्य केनापि प्रकारेण न आसीत्। केवलं तत्त्वचिन्तायाः विशुद्धं सुन्दरं सात्विकं मुखं तत् उपयुज्य शङ्कराचार्यः यदा इण्टग्रेटेड् चिन्तनम् इति यद्वदति, एकीकृत चिन्तनम् इति यद्वदति, तस्य समन्वयं कृतवान्। यदा तत्र कश्चन तस्मिन् काले अपेक्षितः आसीत्, तत् शङ्कराचार्यः तं भागं सम्यक् कृतवान् इति बहु अत्यन्तम् अद्भुतस्य विषयः अस्ति। कारणम् एकः इदानीं सर्वसाधनानि भवन्ति चेदपि जनाः प्रवासं कर्तुं न शक्नुवन्ति। तर्हि विना किमपि साधनं भारतं पूर्णं प्रवासं कृत्वा एतत् समन्वयं कृत्वा एतत् स्थापयितुम् अद्वैतमतस्य एतत् धर्मस्य स्थापनार्थं एतादृशः प्रयत्नः अत्यद्भुतमेव भवति। तस्य चिन्तनस्य कश्चन भागः परन्तु पूर्णं सिद्धान्तं तत्र अस्ति, तादृशः कश्चन भागः अत्र इदानीम् अस्यां कार्यशालायां चर्चार्थं स्वीकृतमिति अत्यन्तम् आनन्दस्य विषयः अस्ति। तस्मादेव अहम् आदौ एव उक्तवान् यदा अहम् एतस्य अभिनन्दनं करोमि इति। श्लोकाः अत्यन्त सरलश्लोकाः, कोऽपि वा पठित्वा सामान्यम् अर्थम् अवगन्तुं शक्नोति, परन्तु तस्य पृष्ठतः तत्त्वम्, अन्यैः दर्शनैः सह तस्य समन्वयः कथं भवति इत्यादिकं तत्र महत्त्वपूर्णः भागः। तत्तु आचार्यः अत्र कार्यशालायाम् उपस्थापयेत् इति अहं विश्वसिमि। तस्मात् अत्र ये आगतवन्तः, अत्र ये उपस्थिताः सन्ति, परमाचार्यस्य शङ्कराचार्यस्य सिद्धान्तान् श्रोतुम् अत्र उत्सुकाः अत्र आगताः सन्ति, सर्वेभ्यः मम पक्षतः अभिनन्दनानि अनुमोदनानि च। एतस्याः कार्यशालायाः उद्घाटनं कृतवान् इति उद्घोष्य मम वाक्यद्वयम् अहम् अत्र समापयामि। धन्यवादः।
We are pleased to have Dr. K. Srinivasan, former principal of RKM Vivekananda College, Mylapore, Chennai, to conduct today's workshop. With utmost love and respect, I invite you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. यस्य प्रसादात् मोकोऽपि वावदूकोऽभिजायते भाष्य भावज्ञ विख्यातः सद्गुरुं प्रणमाम्यहम् पंडितानां च राजानं शास्त्रे रत्नाकरोपमं बालपूर्वं गुरुं वन्दे सुब्रह्मण्याभिधं मुदा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 ओम. Thank you all. I am very much indebted to the director of ISSS for inviting me. Rather, it is a very great honor. It is the first lecture, I think, and first workshop, and I thank very much. And that too on December 21st, which is, even though it is an Advaitic work, yet we can consider December 21st as a very significant astronomical day. It is one of the 4 days, just like as they say March 22nd, etc. Maybe the shortest day in the Sayana calendar. Okay. Now, the work which we are going to take up today is Dasashloki, and I also thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor for his what is called sparing his time to inaugurate. This work this is the second work of Shankaracharya practically, probably. We should not say Shankaracharya's first work and Shankara's second work. In the Brahmacharya Avastha, he has written one Kanakadhara Stotra. But the Kanakadhara Stotra also has got an important verse. Of course, generally the Kanakadhara Stotra speaks of Lakshmi. But there in one particular verse in between, that speaks or identifies Lakshmi with Shakambhari and Saraswati, Durga, Parvati and all those things, which is more or less on par with and online with a verse in Lakshmi Sahasram, where in the Lakshmi Sahasram, where what is called, that is also one of the important work. In fact, Apay Dikshita has written one work based on that, Lakshmi Sahasram. That work is Durga Chandrakala Stuti, where the greatness of Ambal is presented, where all the 3 goddesses are identified and then they are presented. All the various forms are presented as the incarnation of Goddess Lakshmi. And this shows how even in the very early age, even at the very young Brahmachari in Shankaracharya, he has understood the significance of the Puranas, how the Puranas take one particular form, Ishta Devata as the main Devata and all the other Devatas as the same form, that is Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. That concept of Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti, which as our Vice Chancellor has said, the Samanvaya, the concept of Samanvaya has been willy-nilly presented by Shankaracharya in his Kanakadhara Stava. The same idea has been taken up. Of course, he will be developing it later. But now, let us look at Dasashloki, which is the main topic of this particular workshop. And another important point is, Shankara himself had written another Dasashloki. That Dasashloki is on Lord Shiva, and that verse is just eulogizing Lord Shiva, speaking the greatness of the Saguna Devata, Saguna Paramatma, and the first verse is the Vibhakti Sloka. In that particular Dasashloki, the first verse is Vibhakti Sloka, Sambona Kuladaivatam, like that. That is in the Prathama Vibhakti, Dvidiya Vibhakti, and like that. And there are few more Dasashlokis. One Dasashloki on Dharmasastra and 2 other Dasashlokis written elsewhere. If you look at the catalogs, new catalogus catalogorum, which has been published by Madras University Sanskrit Department, you can find a few Dasashlokis. So this particular Dasashloki, which is one of the important Advaitic work, hence in order to perhaps differentiate it from other Dasashlokis, has got certain other names and adjectives also. So this Dasashloki is called by various names. It is called Chidananda Dasashloki, Chidananda Stavarajaha, Nirvana Stavarajaha, Nirvana Dasashloki. Like that, it has got different names. And another important thing is, this Dasashloki is in Bhujanga Prayata meter. Bhujanga Prayata means, Bhujanga means serpent, Prayata means movement. that is serpentine movement. As the serpent will not be going straight forward, it will be going in a crooked fashion. That means its movement is slow. So when it is slow, so in order to what is called bent movement, curved movement, so the syllables in this particular Dasashloki, this meter will be these 10 slokas. Each sloka will have 4 quarters, and in every quarter there will be 12 syllables. In Sanskrit, the meters, the syllables are grouped in the units of 3 syllables. So the first quarter, that is in every quarter, there will be 4 units. The unit is named Ya. They will call it Yagana. Yagana means short, long, long. So the arrangement will be short, long, long, short, long, long, short, long, long, short, long, long. So that means long, long will be what is called straight movement, and short may be curved movement, or you can have it in whatever way fashion. So that means it is a serpentine movement. Na bhumir na toyam na tejo na vayuhu. So when you say na bhumir na toyam na tejo na vayuhu, all these things can be what is called set to tunes, meters, etc. That is something different, but I am far away from that. So I am not venturing into that particular thing, but I am presenting how it is a serpentine movement, why he chose. Say, for example, Sankara had chosen different meters for different devatas, different concepts, etc. Subramanya, he has got one verse, it is said. So he has written a verse, Mayuradhirodam Mahavakya Godam Manohari Degam Magachittagegam Mahideva Devam Mahaveda Bhavam Mahadeva Balam Bhajelo Kapalam. This is supposed to have been written on the Tiruchendur Lord Subramanya. There in Tiruchendur, they don't give what is called Vibhuti presentation. In Tamil Nadu, Vibhuti will be just what is called put directly in the hand. But in Tiruchendur, they will just give in a paneer leaf. Paneer is a tree, in that leaf. That also is referred to in that Bhujanga prayer, in that verse. But Subramanya is considered to be a deity of what is called the serpent. And then Karnataka and other things, everywhere you will have what is called Sarpakavu or something like that, the temple with serpents, which will be presided predominantly Subramanya temples. So like that, because that Subramanya is that particular deity, he has given it in Bhujanga Prayata meter. So according to each deity, he has preferred the mood of the deity or the mood of the verse, he has preferred the meter and then presented it. Now he has to approach the teacher. Teacher is asking him, who are you? And then he has to answer. So he has to be respectful, bent, curved means with what is called within the salutation mode and all those things. So like that, in order to show it, this particular meter has been chosen by him. And another thing, why this, say for example, Dasashloki. The teacher asked him, who are you? He could have simply answered that question. Why that Dasashloki? All the Shankara Abhyudayas, Shankaracharya, Shankara Vijayas, in Sanskrit, the biographies are called by the word Vijaya, generally Shankara Vijaya, Sumadhva Vijaya, Raghavendra Vijaya. Like that, the histories are called by the name Vijaya or called by the name Abhyudaya. Raghunatha Abhyudaya. Raghunatha is a Tanjore king. So it is called Raghunatha Abhyudaya. And then Shankara Abhyudaya, that also is a work. So either Abhyudaya, Vijaya, etc. These are some of the names to describe the biographies or present the biographies. And then all the Shankara, generally all the by histories of Shankara are called Shankara Vijayas. All the Shankara Vijayas are Shankara Abhyudaya. They present this particular story, that is Shankara approaching his guru in a uniform way. I will come to that. I will just quote that particular context from Madhaviya Shankara Vijaya. But before that, I will take up why this particular story is being described in all the Shankara Vijayas, or they present, why they choose to present this particular, say, Shankara had written hundreds of verses, hundreds of hymns. He has eulogized all the gods and goddesses throughout India. But now they have not described the context of each and every one. They have described he visited this temple, that temple, something like that, and then they leave it like that. Not every context of every hymn or every work is given. But this is some few works are given. Dasashloki they have given. Why this Dasashloki? And not all the stotras or not all the hymns are just like that given, leave alone major works. Shankara's works can be classified in different ways. That is Bhashya works, independent Prakarana works, and Stotra works, Vedanta Stotra, like that it can be differentiated. Major works are Prasthanatraya Bhashya, and the minor Bhashya works like Sanat Sujatiya, Hastamalikiya, Vishnu Sahasranama, and things like that. And then Prakarana works are like Vivek Chudamani, Upadesa Sagasri, Atma Bodha, such a Prakarana works also there. Minor Prakarana works too are there. And then Stotra, Govindashtaka, Gopalashtaka, Achyudashtaka, Raghavashtaka, like that. So many stotras are there, but there are Kaupina Panchakam, Yadi Panchakam, Kashi Panchakam, like that. Vedanta Stotra works are also there. Not just the Stotra works alone, Vedanta, Anatma, Sri Vigarhanam, Maya Panchakam, so many Vedantic works, which will be very useful for the sannyasins to do their Nididhyasana. In this way, he has written lots of works. But this Dasashloki, this can be called a Vedanta Prakarana work. But this Vedanta Prakarana work is given a context. That is, when Shankara is meeting his teacher, the teacher asks him the question, Kastom, who are you? And then he answers this question. While answering this question, Shankara has to say, I am a particular person, I have taken certain sannyasa, I am coming from this particular place. Like that, Shankara has to present himself in such a way. But instead of presenting himself, Shankara says, Na bhumir, na toyam, na tejo, na vayuhu, like that. And then, Tadeko vasishtas shiva kevaloham. In this way, how am I going to Kadam Vedanta Siddhanta Tattvam Bravimi? How can I present this particular concept? This particular concept, how can I identify? How can I present it to you? This is how he has presented it. That is to his teacher. Now, remember, the context is Shankara had just now taken sannyasa. Just that is, he might have taken it just before the time which he had taken from to walk down the distance from Kaladi to Omkareshwar. Omkareshwar is in Madhya Pradesh. It is very near Indore, maybe 90 kilometers or 120 kilometers from Indore. And then he had reached that place. So he had taken sannyasa just the time and had taken him to reach Kaladi to Indore. That is the time had taken. Before that period only, he has taken sannyasa. And then he reached. And then he says, had he learned Vedanta so much? That also let us see. So he had taken that much of time, and then he had presented it to his teacher, Na bhumir na toyam. Why? Why this type of answer? Leave alone. Shankara had summarized Vedanta in this particular work. But why this type of answer that we have to see? There are two problems. One problem is Shankara had taken, that is a very simple problem. Shankara had taken sannyasa. Having taken sannyasa means he has renounced the world. So if he had to introduce himself to the teacher, if he had to renounce the world, then he cannot identify himself with the Purvasrama. That may not be proper, and that may be a test for him by his teacher. If he were to identify himself with his Purvasrama, which may be a test also, hence he has to. He did not identify himself like that. But there is another question also. That's the most important answer. I consider that as the most important thing. There is one concept called Swayam Sambuddha. How do we know the knowledge of the individual self or the knowledge of Supreme Brahman? That is, we have to get Atmacha Brahma, the knowledge of Supreme Self or the individual self. We have to get the knowledge. But that knowledge cannot be got from books. That should not be got from books. If that knowledge were to be taken from books, that is, if you were to read the book, that will be the subject-object knowledge. Subject-object knowledge means it is not the proper knowledge of Vedantic Brahman. When you read a book and read the knowledge, that is not considered to be a proper knowledge. It is considered to be a textual knowledge. It is not, because Brahman is the Atman himself. Atman is the subject. When the subject is to be known, how are you going to know the subject? If you were to know the subject, that means subject will be object, then you are knowing the subject at all. And the subject will always remain as subject, the knower. So there is no question of knower knowing the knower as known object. Swatmani Kriya Virodha. That is one of the fundamental axioms in Sanskrit. So Swatmani Kriya Virodha, that is, you cannot be subject and object. You cannot at once simultaneously be subject and object in the same action in the same time. So a knower cannot be known object at the same time. And this is what Yajnavalkya had presented to Maitreyi. Vijnataramare kena vijaniya. That too twice he repeats it. Vijnataramare kena vijaniya. Vijnataramare kena vijaniya. How can you know yourself as a knower? When you are a knower, how can you know yourself? So that cannot be known. So Shankara being knower, he cannot, what is called, that is something he has to present. A knower cannot identify himself or he cannot present himself. That's why that becomes a very important concept. So there is no question of, in order to know ourselves, going out elsewhere, and then finding ourselves. That concept is not there. The most important concept is Shravana. Shravana is the most important concept. So the concept of Swayam Sambodha, self-effort, the teach yourself or self-help book, all those concepts don't work with regard to Advaita Vedanta Brahman. It can work everywhere, except in the case of Advaitic Brahman. Self-help and teach yourself can work. That's why there are very many quotations. All these quotations are from Upanishads. That is Acharyavan Purusho Veda. In the Gandhara Purusha Drishtanta, in the Chandogya Upanishad, Sadvidya, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. Purusha means the soul lying within the Sharira. Who is the soul lying within the Sharira? He must have a guide. The guide is the teacher. One who has got that preceptor, he alone can be considered to be a real Purusha, one who is working, a mumukshu, an aspirant. So he alone can be Acharyavan, one who possesses Acharya. And then not only Acharyavan, Acharya Deva Vidya Vidita Sadhishtam Prapati. So the Vidya, the knowledge obtained from a teacher alone is fruitful. Sadhishtam means that will have its efficacy, that will have its apurva. All other Vidyas cannot have any apurva. That is, they cannot bear that fruit. So the knowledge must be from Acharya. Not only that, Guror Anugrahenaiva Puman Purnaf Prajayate. Let us look at Shweta Sutra. It says, Yasya Deve Parabhaktihi Yatha Deve Tatha Guru. A man should have equal respect and devotion towards a teacher. So he must learn Vedantic ideas from the teacher. So now what happens? Only for him, Tasya Yete Kathita Hyartaha. The ideas which are narrated, all the ideas presented here, Kathitaha. Some people will what is called Akatitaha. That is, you cannot learn all the subjects from the teacher. So when the teacher gives you some basic ideas, when you learn it properly, similar ideas or other ideas, we can learn it by ourselves. It may be possible for all secular, Laukika and other subjects where there is no taboo. But here, there is only one subject and the subject alone appears as the object. Hence, Kathita Ashwamedha sacrifices and has become god, the head of the gods. And Virochana. Virochana is son of Prahlada. Both of them have gone to Brahma. They have to learn. And Brahma told him to perform Brahmacharya Vasa. Brahmacharya Vasa means they have to be discipled. That is, Brahma that is, he has to serve Brahma for 101 years. Ekashatam Varsham. That is, for 101 years, they were students for Brahma and they served Indra. Of course, Virochana returned within 32 years. So Indra performed it for 101 years. And only with this particular thing, what happened? Their kashayas are removed and they become fit for taking up this particular, what is called, this particular study, the subject. So all these things are in the famous Kathopanishad, Ananya Prokte Gatiratra Nasti. So all these things show the importance of teacher. That's why Shankara, if he is, even Shankara is really able to summarize all the Vedantic ideas, the entire epitome of Vedanta, beautifully in a nutshell within about 10 verses. Within 10 verses, not even 10 verses. In the 10 verses, all the we have to take out the last line for the 9 verses. So what will happen? Nearly 2 verses are taken out from there. So it is actually speaking, the quantity of only about 8 verses are there. Within 8 verses, he is able to present the entire idea of Vedanta in a nutshell. That too, as our what is called Vice Chancellor said, in easy, mellifluous, simple language. in that language he has presented that work. If it can be presented, can he not, what is called, have the knowledge of Vedanta? Should he walk all the way from Kaladi, that is near Cochin, to Indore? So now that is the situation, that is the importance of the teacher. So for the sake of the teacher, in order to get the teacher, he has gone all the way to Indore, that is to Omkareshwar, to see his teacher. That becomes very important. And then now what happens? The teacher had received him and teacher recognized him. Teacher recognized him. This sort of recognition we can see even in Gurudev Ramakrishna. When Vivekananda visited Ramakrishna, Vivekananda has approached Ramakrishna with his inquiry. Have you seen God? Can God be seen? Like that. He is just, he approached so many people as a skeptic, and in the same way, just having heard about Ramakrishna only that much, he went there. And but Ramakrishna's reaction was, oh, come on, Viveka, come on, Naren, why you are delaying so much? Why have you made me wait for you? So Ramakrishna has recognized the incarnationhood of Vivekananda. Of course, Vivekananda is an ordinary person. He did at that time, he did not recognize it, he did not know it. But Ramakrishna recognized it. Not only he recognized, he expressed his anguish for keeping him long so much. In the same way, Govinda Bhagavad also waiting for Shankara, and he has asked him, but he did not ask him, why did you make me wait? But he simply asked, in order to say, that is in order to make that also manifest, that idea also, how teacher is important, that has to come from the mouth of the disciple. So he asked him Kastvam. You can find these things beautifully presented in the Madhaviya Sankara Vijaya. That is about 14th century work, I think, by Vidyaranya. Tam Akhila Gunapurnam Vyasaputrasya Sishya Adhigata Paramartham Gaudapadasya Maharshehe. So this is how it is present. Tam Akhila Gunapurnam, that is Tam, that Govinda Bhagavad, who is what is called with all good qualities. And then Vyasaputrasya Sishyas. Vyasaputra is Shuka, and his Sishya is Gaudapada. Gaudapadan Maharshege Adhigata Paramartham Adi Jigamishuhu Yesha Brahma Samstaha. Brahma Samstaha Adi Jigamishuhu wanted to learn. So that becomes important. A disciple has to, even though he is well versed, he has to learn it from the teacher. That is more important. As I said, Guror Anugrahadeva Vidya Vidita Sadishtam Prapade. That is presented in the 4th and 5th Adhyayas, Upakosala Vidya and Satyakama Jabala Vidya, etc. That presented the importance of the teacher. Prasumara Mahitam Mahimanam Prapam Ekanta Bhaktya. So with singular devotion, that's the most important thing. With singular devotion, Shankara reached him. Incidentally, how did Shankara know? Shankara, who is what is called residing down south, know the greatness of Govinda Bhagavad, who is living nearly 1,000 miles far away, and what sort of social media or newspaper or what is called other medias were there to declare the greatness and I mean what is called, so how many students were there for Govinda Bhagavad, etc. We do not know. All the important things were somehow or other. The greatness spread, and Shankara knew him, and Shankara chose Govinda should be his teacher. And not only that, Tasmin niti stutavati kastvamiti bruvantam. So he praised his teacher, kastvamiti bruvantam, and Acharya asked him, who are you? Dishtya samadhi padaruddha visrushta chittam. Dishtya, luckily, Govinda was always antarmukha. He was living within the cave, always contemplating, meditating. And now Dishtya, luckily, samadhi padaruddha visrushta chittam. When Shankara came, he opened his mind. He came out. He has come to what is called Uthana Avastha. All along he was in the Samadhi Avastha. Now he had, that itself is a luck. Uthana Avastha. Govinda Desika Muvacha Tada Vachobihi. Govinda Desika Muvacha. He told the teacher Govinda Vachobihi words, who he was, how. And Prachina Punya Janitatma Vibhoda Chittaihi. So it is not Shankara giving something. Prachina Punya Janitatma. So it is manifesting the samskara. As Krishna had said, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. That is the continuity. When we are doing, when somebody happens to be a mumukshu and aspirant, the work does not stop, it continues. And Bhagavan Ramana and Gurudev Ramakrishna and everybody has explained this concept of samskara, the continuity and all those things. have been presented nicely and beautifully by them. So, and that idea is presented in this particular, what is called Madhaviya Sankara Vijaya also. In the case of Shankara too, we normally say Shankara is an incarnation, but still Shankara is presented as a mumukshu, so that all others, how they should conduct themselves, how they should proceed, that idea can be taken. So, Prachina Punya Janitatma Vibhoda Chittaihi, these are becomes in the Shankara Vijaya, these words become very important, how to comprehend these ideas. So, Swaminaham na Prithvi, the Upanishad, the Shankara Vijaya says, Swaminaham na Prithvi, I am not Prithvi, etc. That sort of the 10 slokas he has presented. Tato avasishto yah kevalo asti paramaha sasivoham asmi. So that has been paraphrased, that idea has been paraphrased in the Shankara Vijaya and that has been presented. Akarnya Shankara Munair Vachanam. So these words have been heard by Shankara Muni, but the words told by Shankara Muni has been heard by Govinda Bhagavad Pada, and the story proceeds, they proceed with the story that has been presented later. So here that becomes another important point. That is, this is called Pariseshiya Nyaya. Pariseshiya Nyaya means Neti Neti. That is the Neti Neti concept. That is not this, etc. So what remains? The residue. What remains as Parisesha, that is presented as the Atman. But the same happens in the case of Hastamalaka too, and Hastamalaka also presents this particular concept. Hastamalaka too presents this concept, and Sanityopalabdhi Swarupoham Atma. But whereas Hastamalaka, he presents it the Vidimukha. And the important is Hastamalaka had not written any other work. Hastamalaka has, when Shankara asked Hastamalaka, who are you? Hastamalaka had just narrated these some verses. Sanityopalabdhi Swarupa, I am of the nature of the consciousness, only that much. And Shankara had written a Bhashya for that. It is called Hastamalaka Bhashya. Guru writing the Bhashya for Sishya's work. And now Shankara had presented both for Vidimukha as well as for Nishedamukha. Shankara had presented Nishedamukha in the Dasa Shloki and written a commentary for the Vidimukha presentation of Hastamalaka. That is how to identify ourselves. In this way, this has been presented. What is called the Dasa Shloki is presented in this concept. That is, the concept is teacher's guidance. Chitram Vadatarormole, Vriddha Sishya, Guru Riva, Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam. Even though Guru is giving Mauna alone as Vyakhya, that is the narration, description, discourse, yet without the teacher, this cannot be learned. And what is learned is not the subject, real subject, what we have to learn. So what is presented by teacher alone becomes the most important thing. Pandya and Vakyakara, Siddhantu Nivartakatvat, a few quotations of what is called the Vakyakara. That is Dravida, I mean Vakyakara or Brahmanandin's commentary on Chandogya, he has quoted, and Acharya Sundara Pandya's 3 verses have been quoted in the 4th sutra of Brahma Sutra Bhashya, that is Pramanantu Atmanischaya, with which the Chatusudri portion ends. So he has given, and there are other people also. Bhartru Prapancha, though he may not be an Advaitin, Bhartru Prapancha is a Vedantin, and he has criticized Bhartru Prapancha in his Brihadaranyaka. Not only that, whenever he criticizes some other people, Shankara uses the word Asmadi Jaivam Rupam Manyante Asmadiyascha Kechit. Some of our own Vedantins think like this. So Vedanta is not a new religion or a new system enunciated by Shankara. Shankara had, of course, Govinda Bhagavad Pada and Gaudapada and all these things, leaving alone the teaching. But there are other people who do not subscribe or who do not think on the line similar to the lines of Shankara. They had different ideas, and those ideas have been criticized by Shankara. While criticizing them, while identifying them, he says, Asmadiyascha Kechite. Some of our own people, some of our own Vedantic people. So there were different concepts of Vedanta. This is how he presents. See, Shankara presents the concept of Vedanta. So we know Vedanta is a widely popular system. Of course, you find so many people quoted in the Brahma Sutra also. Audulomi, Badari, Kasakrishna, Kashnajini, like that, so many people were quoted, and nearly about very many times, nearly about 20 plus times, Their views have been quoted, and some of them approvingly by Vyasa and some of them disapprovingly. And Bhartrihari also, who has presented the Vivartavada. In this way, the concept of Vedanta was prevalent, and then this idea has been presented well. By that is presented well means in the context of Dasashloki. I'm not simply saying just Dasashloki, in the concept of Dasashloki. And what does this Dasashloki present? See, the nutshell, Shankara proceeds. That is, when Vedanta is to be taken up, for a person, the qualification or the fitness to take up what is called the Vedanta is Nitya Sadhana Chatushti Sampatti. Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, Ihamutrartha Palabhoga Viraga, Samadhamadi Sadhana Sampatti, Tivra Mumuksha. These four qualities are to be there. Only when you develop these, to use the Buddhist terminology, paramita, that is only when you develop all these qualities to the utmost level, when you reach the pinnacle of these qualities, when you reach the pinnacle, there is no need for you to develop further. We have to reach the pinnacle. Only when we reach the pinnacle, utmost level, then alone we become fit to take up the study of Vedanta. What are we going to do? What is taking up Vedanta? Vedanta is taking up Shravana. Shravana has to be taken up with a teacher. So you have to go to a teacher and Shravana. That's why whether all these are discussed, I mean, all the discussions presented by great Vedantic teachers are summarized and collected in the the second chapter of, and the second topic of Siddhanta Lesa Sangraha. What is the vidhi with regard to Vedanta, whether it is Ravana vidhi, that is, whether it is Apurva vidhi, Nema vidhi, or Parasankhya vidhi, or whether it is with regard to Shravana, or Manana, or Nididhyasana. So, Vidichaya, Pannani, Vachanani, that is one statement by Acharya. Bhamadikara saying there is no vidhi at all. That is because people are generally used to vidhi, they are using the word Tavyaha, Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha. Tavyaha is Swarte, that is, there is nothing special like that. But there are other people who say that Tavyaha is definitely a linglord Tavya Pratyaya. Tavya is injunctive, and then it has to be accepted. Of course, there are difference of opinions, no doubt about it. But the question is whether it is injunction or non-injunction. The Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka is very much there. And without Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, Vedanta cannot be taken up for study. So Shankara is going to his teacher, and the teacher has to accept him. And when the teacher accepts him, and when the teacher presents, in the technical parlance, it is Pranava and Mahavakya. Because when it is a sannyasa, it is not starting from the basic. It is presenting the Mahavakya. The Guru presenting the Mahavakya to the student, and the student has to realize it. When the Guru has presented the Mahavakya Tattvamasi, the disciple is to be ready to proceed with Aham Brahmasmi. So when the Upadesa Vakya is there, the disciple must be able to have it as Anubhava Vakya. So the Upadesa Vakya must be what is called, must be converted into Anubhava Vakya. So if the Upadesa Vakya were to be converted into an Anubhava Vakya, the student must not only be a Uttamadhikari, he must have the utmost Pakwa. And the utmost Pakwa where he will be able to take it immediately. That sort of Pakwa must be there. That sort of idea should be there. So it is not, the Sravana must have been already, as I say, Prachina Punya Janita Atma. That is why the Shankara Vijaya presents the Prachina Punya, it stresses. So in this way, the Pakwa should have been there. He must have developed. It should be in a cultivation and it should be in a culmination, that particular point. So when the teacher presents, that going to be Sravana, and then he is going to present Mahavakya, not starting from basic Upanishads. So Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, etc. should be there. And when the Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, etc. are there, that has to be presented, isn't it? So this Dasashloki also gives the idea that Shankara possesses the Sadhana Chatushtiya Sampatti in the utmost manner, the most fittest manner. He presents it, he possesses it, and then he declares it cannot be just like that. Shankara may be an incarnation. Definitely, there is no doubt about it. Even if you accept Shankara, as Rama says in Valmiki Ramayana, when all the people have appeared before him, all the gods have appeared before him, he said, Atmanam Manusham Manye Ramam Dasarathatmajam. Now I have taken an incarnation as a human being. I have to be a human being totally out and fully. So Atmanam Manusham Manye, I think myself to be a human being. Dasarathatmajam, son of Dasaratha. nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. Just like that, even when Lord Parameshwara has taken an incarnation of Shankara, Shankara is maybe an incarnation. Incarnation is after the Avatara Karya is over. But when the Avatara Karya is being proceeded, he has to be a human being, and he is a human being, and he behaves like a human being. But sometimes he may perform miracles also to impress others, to or what is called attract others, or to make others convinced. That also is an Avatara Karya within the Avatara Karya. There is nothing has been said that the miracles should not be performed. Okay. But now what happens when Shankara shows to the world that he has got that particular Nityanitya Viveka totally, and then this particular this hymn explains how he has got Nityanitya Viveka, that can be taken up further. So Shankara's what is called approaching his guru is what is his guru's query and his answer, the need for a teacher for the fructification of Vedantic knowledge. So this particular shows the need for a teacher for the fructification of Vedantic knowledge and his qualifications of Sadhana Chatushtaya, that is Sankara possessing or developing Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. And that's not because Shankara, while describing the what is called the meaning of Atha, Vedadhyayana Anantaryam, the knowledge of Veda, that is generally assumed. Knowledge of Veda, that is uniform, universal. Everyone, I mean, what is called the people have to study Vedic. It is a basic qualification, and when they have studied Vedic knowledge or the ideas in the Vedic knowledge, that idea can be cultivated. What does Veda says? That idea can be cultivated. All those things are there. So these knowledge can be taken up for granted. That is basic knowledge of Veda. From the Veda, the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti and the cultivation of Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, knowing Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti from Veda is a bookish knowledge, but the cultivation of Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti becomes more important. And then the another thing, the knowledge of Guru, how he was, all those things, that is Govinda Bhagavad-pada. The information about Govinda Bhagavad-pada, his knowledge, his greatness, etc. have been widely presented, widely known, all the people were knowing it. So in this way, that's presented, and this has got some important commentaries. This Dasasloki has got originally some 4 commentaries or so they have been listed. One of them is Siddhanta Bindu. Siddhanta Bindu itself, I have got few commentaries. One is Vishweshwara Saraswati and Sandeepani, Siddhanta Bindu Tika, Sandeepani, like that. And then Narayana Tirtha's commentary. It's also a simple commentary, beautiful commentary. And then Gauda Brahmananda, who has written a commentary on Advaita Siddhi, that is Lagu Chandrika and Guru Chandrika. He had written a commentary on Siddhanta Bindu also. It is called Nyaya Ratnavali. So the famously the author of Advaita Siddhi. He has not only commented Siddhanta, commented Dasasloki in his Siddhanta Bindu, but he uses the word Siddhanta Bindu. The commentary he says, Vedanta Sastra Sravanalasanam Bodhaya Kurve Kamapi Prayatnam. Those who could not take up the study of Vedanta for their Bodhaya, for their knowledge, Kamapi Prayatnam. I do what is called, I take an effort, I make an effort. Kamapi. The word Kamapi, generally we may take as some, but actually the word copy, all those things gives the idea very beautiful or new, something apurva, that presents apurva, that is not existing before. So Madhusudana Saraswati says, I am making a new effort. This is actually a new effort. New, that is something new. He is collecting all the ideas listed earlier, that is by other people, and also he has listed the opinions expressed by fellow Advaitins also. So all the opinions, that is what is the Jiva, whether Parichedavada, Pratibimbavada, Abhasavada, like that, there are so many vadas about Jiva, so many vadas about Ishvara, so many vadas about what is called Aikya, whether Aikya is, whether Samanadhikaranya is Badayam Samanadhikaranyam or Aikya Samanadhikaranyam, like that. There are very many views. So all these views have been collected together, and then he tried to present them. So collection of compilation of the doctrines have been a new idea that I presented, how Shankara involved or incorporated all the ideas here, and that's one of the important thing. Whether did Shankara say all those things specifically, clearly? So when you read some books, the two especially classical books, we have to read the context or ideas, as they say, in between lines, reading in between lines, like that. Whatever idea is implied, or whatever ideas may be expressed, ideas may be implied, or ideas may have to be what is called extended, like that. Different ideas, different ways of reading. It is not only different ideas presented in the book, but different ways of reading the classical books. Classical books are not just simply just like that. They cannot be taken up and then what is called presented. They have to be read in a different way, and I present. So in this way, trying to present all these things in this particular way becomes an important aspect. So he says, Bodhaya kurve kamapi prayatnam. I make an idea. And the later people, they say, what is called Vedanta Sastra Sravanalasana. That Vedanta is Sutra of Vyasa, Bhashya of Shankara, Bhamati of Vachaspati Misra, Kalpataru of Amalananda, and Parimala of Apai Dikshita. So Parimalanto Grantaha, those who could not take up all the books and could not study, for them, simple Siddhanta Bindu is presented like that. This is how they take it. So that's why it is presented as the Kamapi Prayatnam. So this is how the background, the importance is this. It is not the concept of Swayam Sambuddha. Sadhana Chatushtiya Sampatti is there, should be there. Only with the Sadhana Chatushtiya Sampatti, we can take up Shravana. And not only Sadhana Chatushtiya Sampatti, Guru's importance is equally important. That is, we have to approach a teacher. Only with approaching a teacher, we will be able to learn all these things from the teacher. We have to learn, we have to get the instruction from the teacher. This is the background presented for the Dasasloki. That also is equally important concept. So it is not the just idea alone, but for example, Shankara says, when the Upanishadic stories are presented, Pitruputra Akyayika tu Stutyartha. Sometimes he may say Stutyartha, Prasamsartha. But Stuti and Prasamsas are not just to eulogize. When something is praised or presented in such a way, we can understand how important it is, how secret it is, how careful it is, like that. We can understand some more significance of those stories. In the Mahabharata, in the Shanti Parva, so many stories are given. But each story has not only the story significant, the context of the story, the way in which the story is presented, etc., they also become very significant and meaningful and useful. In this way, this story presented, that is Shankara approaching Govinda Bhagavad itself, also becomes very significant. And then now let us take up the text. Na bhumir na toyam na tejo na vayuhu nakham nendriyam va na tesham samohaha anaikantikatvat sushutyeka siddhaha tadeko vasishtaha shivah kevaloham. This is the first verse of Dasasloki. This work has got 10 verses. Of these 10 verses, first 3 verses describe the Tvam Padartha, because essentially this has to present the meaning of Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi is summarized in this Dasasloki. The Mahavakya Tattvamasi, that is summarized in this. So, but how Tattvamasi is summarized? Just now we have said the Tattvamasi, the meaning, Vachyartha will be presenting the Atma Swarupa. If the Vachyartha is presented as Atma Swarupa, it cannot be Vijñātāramare Kana Vijaniya. Vachyartha is the Shabda Pramana. When you approach through Shabda Pramana, Vijñātāramare Kana Vijaniya, it cannot be grasped as a Prameya. This has to come to us only as a Anubhava. It cannot be, Anubhava means that is personally, but it cannot be what is called known as subject-object relationship. It cannot be known in the form of subject-object relationship. So now what happens? We don't take it as Vachyartha. Advaita Vedanta does not subscribe that it can be taken as a Vachyartha. So in that particular position, it is not taken. So when you take Tattvamasi, the meaning may be clear. Tat, that, Tvam, you, Asi, are. You are that. That you are. That is its meaning. Okay, let us keep it in a way. But Vachyartha is not taken as the real meaning or real significance of Mahavakya. Because what is sought to be subscribed, what is sought to be presented, namely Brahman, cannot be taken as the word meaning. Brahman, first of all, word meaning, Brahman cannot be the word meaning at all. Kathopanishad says, Ashabdam, Asparsham, Arupam, Avyayam, Tata Arasam, Nityam, Agandhavache. So, when it has to be presented, what is word meaning? The word meaning, Patanjali himself says, that is, it can be Jati, Guna, Kriya, Yadricha. It can be a species. It can belong to a particular characteristic, particular species, and that can be presented. As they say, Utpalatvam, or Guna and Kriya, Gauhu, Kriya, Guna, Mahatu, Sugandhi, like that, or Yadricha, a name, proper name. And now, Brahman, being only singular object, does not need a name. It Anamakam, Arupakam, the Nishkriyam, Shantam, Niravadyam, Niranjanam. So it does not have any guna, any kriya, anything like that. It is being singular, it cannot have jati. So it cannot have a name at all. It cannot be referred to by the word. So Brahman is beyond, avang manasa gocharam. It is beyond referred to by the word, by even what is called words. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa says Veda, Taittiriya Upanishad. Even Veda says, I cannot reach it by mind. That is, it cannot be expressed by word. That becomes clear. So this is how Brahman cannot be expressed by word. So it is beyond words, beyond Vachyartha. So how to present it? It cannot be presented by means of partite sentence structure. That is syntactic sentence structure. It cannot be word meanings cannot be taken. And because generally a sentence is understood through the Padajnanantu Karanam Dwaram Tatra Padarthadihi. So what happens? We cannot take, that is in the case of understanding Brahman, Pada cannot be Karana and Padartha cannot be Vyapara there. So through the connection or relationship between whatever may be the relation, through the relationship between word meanings, you cannot try to understand in a relational way, in a Sambandha way, Brahman cannot be understood as a word meaning. So how to understand Tattvamasi? So in order to understand this particular Tattvamasi, the word Tatu and Tvam, both of them, that is Veda itself, presents how to understand the meaning of Tatu and Tvam. How to be Tatu may be what is called Jagat Karana Paramatma. Tvam may be Sambodhya Chetana. That is the ultimate cause of the world is referred to by the word Tatu. And Tvam is when the Guru is addressing the disciple, he addresses him as Tvate. That is Vachyartha, physical features, both of them. But this is not understood. The significance lies elsewhere. How to look at the significance? This is where what is known as Shodhaka Vakyas. Say for Brahmavida apnoti param, they say. It is a sutra praya sentence. Brahma sutra padaishchaiva hetumadbir vinishchitaihi, as they say. This particular sentence is called Brahma Sutra, means a sutra available within the Vedas. So the Advaitic interpretation of Brahma Sutra Pada is different. The Advaitins don't interpret Chandobir, the Rishibir Bahuda Geetam, Chandobir Vividai Pratake, Brahma Sutra Padaishchaiva. The 13th chapter verse of Bhagavad Gita, they interpret Brahma Sutra is in aphoristic sentences found in Vedas, not the Vyasa Brahma Sutra. Now, Brahma Sutra Padaishchaiva. What is the Brahma Sutra? Brahma Vida Apnoti Param. And that Brahma Vite Apnoti Param is explained. Tadesha Abhyukta Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So the word Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, that's what Brahman is defined. And where it is to be seen? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma used to be seen as within Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. Within the shortest akasa, within the smallest akasa, the Brahmeva Vinonam. Within the infinitesimal akasa, within the heart, that Brahman is available. So it cannot be, okay, let us not, I mean, when next the chance comes, when we take up the detailed meaning of that, but it cannot be another object because it should be Trivida Paricheda Rahita. If it is with Paricheda, then it becomes a problematic one because it cannot be permanent one. So definitely all the people agree that Kala Paricheda and Desa Paricheda are not there. Brahman is not bound by time, Brahman is not bound by space. So it is everywhere, all pervasive, and it is the pervading all time. But Vastu Paricheda, people have got a difference. They don't, Vastu Paricheda, they don't subscribe to, as everyone uniformly, they don't subscribe because they accept the world as real. Since they accept the world as the real, so Vastu Paricheda means they can't accept because they have to accept only when the world is only one and the world is illusory, they say Vastu Paricheda is not there, Vastu Paricheda cannot be there. But for them, Vastu Paricheda is very much there. It doesn't matter because the world is real. World is Satya and Nitya. World can be Satya and Nitya. So they say Vastu Paricheda is not a problem for other people. Whereas for Advaitin, if the Vastu Paricheda is there, automatically it brings in Desa Paricheda. And when Desa Paricheda is there, Kala Paricheda also will be there. So a Vastu Paricheda also makes a Vastu Anitya. So Vastu Paricheda cannot be there. No other Vastu is possible. Since no Vastu is possible, what happens? Everything else becomes illusory. Brahman alone is Nitya. And Brahman were to be Nitya, it cannot have the characteristics. That is Satya, Satyatva Visishtam. It cannot be like that. So Jnanam, you cannot call Jnani, Jnanatva Visishtam. That also you cannot call. So it is not Satyatva Visishtam, Jnana Visishtam. Like that you cannot define Brahma. So what is Satya? Satya means Asad Vyavritam. Jnana means Jada Vyavritti. So only negatively it is presented. So Satya means that which is not temporary or that which is not destructible. So that, I mean, we don't say that which is permanent. You cannot say the characteristic of permanence inheres in it. So you cannot say permanence inheres means that is an object and permanence. So when it becomes an object and characteristic means that is duality. So that which is different from impermanence, that which is not impermanent. Only in this way you can present it. So when you present in this particular way, now what happens? Something remains. It is negatively. Something remains which you have to understand. So when that is presented, that becomes Lakshana Mukena. That is through the process of Lakshana. That is metaphorical extension. The word meaning is understood in the form of metaphorical intention. So that becomes the meaning of, or that becomes the idea of, or that becomes the characteristic. That's how we have to understand it. So Brahman is presented like that. Jiva also is presented like that only. So there are, say for example, na drashtur drishte na drishter drishtaram pashyehe. You don't see the seer of sight. So here drishti means pramana vritti, and then drashta bhasaka sakshi. So the sakshi cannot be seen as an object, or sakshi cannot be known as an what is called a fellow entity who is seeing everything. So jiva also becomes na anuchitti dharma. That is this particular thing that does not go away. Anuchitti dharma, it does not what is called always, it remains permanent. So in this way, Atma is presented as Nitya and Brahman also is presented as Nitya. That is, that particular Brahman is presented, he is remaining everywhere. So Atma is also presented that Yada Matsyaha Ube Kule. That is in the, while presenting the Sushupti in the Brihadaranyaka, in the Swayamjyoti Brahmana, that is the Atman is just going into Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti and everywhere. So he is presented as the Sakshi for all the states. So the states themselves, the Jagrat state does not come to Swapna and the Swapna state does not come to Sushupti. Each state remains there, but the person who remains as Sakshi, he goes to all the three states, but all the three states are Vyavritta. The person who witnesses, he is not Vyavritta, he is Anuvritta. So he remains permanent. In this way, he is presented. So Atman is presented as Anuvritta in all the three states, and Brahman also is presented as what is called everywhere in all the three states, because being Jnana. So what happens? Brahman and Atman, then Tatu and Tvam are presented. We know them to be Suddha Swarupa. When they are present, they present only as a consciousness, not in their characterized. Brahman as Jagat Karana Vastu. He is not presented in the form as a Jagat Karana Vastu. Jiva also is not known with the Sharira and all the Parichedas. So Suddha Swarupa, Kevala Atma Swarupa, they are presented. So that identity is possible. So this sort of Shodhana, how we have to clear them, how it is to be cleared, how the Suddha Swarupa is presented, that Shodhana or Shodhaka Vakya becomes important. So the words describing Jiva, etc. are Shodhaka Vakyas for Jiva. The words, the sentences describing Ishvara Swarupa are Shodhaka Vakyas for Jagat Karana Vastu, that is Sat Swarupa. And then finally, what remains is only consciousness, and it can't be different, it will not be different, because there cannot be any differentiation. If something is to be differentiated, there should be Bhedaka Pramana, differentiating factor, and the proof to differentiate the factor. The Bhedaka Pramana is there, should be there. And since the Bhedaka Pramana is there, we cannot identify them. So this is how we have to take what is Vyavritti, what is Anuvritti. This Vyavritti and Anuvritti concept is presented in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, also in the 18-19 verses. This concept is presented. So taking this concept of Vyavritti and Anuvritti, what remains in all the stages and what does not remain in all the stages, that is the essential characteristic. What remains, that is what can be permanent. Remember, it is not something. Shankara presents the view of all other people. While presenting all the other people, he does not simply list them. He does not simply, these are all the people giving this particular opinion. He has to evaluate and give a criteria also. So in order to evaluate and give a criteria, he presents, he takes up Vyavritti and Anuvritti, the verse Anaikantikatvat. So Vyavritti and Anuvritti are Vyabhichara. That concept he takes. What is called, what remains in all the states and all the stages, and what slips away, at least apart from than one stage, what remains in only one stage. Like that he takes up and presents. So from Tattvamasi point, it is what is called Sodhaka Vakya, that is cleansing the word meaning or making the word meaning clear and slipping the Vachyartha and going into Lakshyartha. That is from Tattvamasi concept, but from what is called from other people, other systems concept, from the general presentation concept, it is Anuvritti and Vyavritti and presenting them together. So the first three verses of Dasashloki present the Tvam Padartha, and the next three verses present Tat Padartha, and the last four verses they present Tattvamasi. It is not just Asi Padartha, Tattvamasi. How Tvam and Tat are one and the same. So the Mahavakya is essentially presented in this particular thing. So while let us just to look at how the Tvam Padartha is presented, how Veda has, what is the central purport of the Veda? We have to see what is the central purport of the Veda. How do we look into the central purport of the Veda? Central purport of the Veda, we say Shadvida Tatparya Nirnayaka Linga. The six markers are Tatparya, the central idea, how it can be known. Upakramopasamharo, Abhyasaha, Apurvata, Palam, Arthavadaha, Upapatticha, Lingam, Tatparya Nirnaya. These six are appointed, these six are applied. And then when the six board point out a particular idea, that idea can be taken as the central purport. And we say these six, that is, we look from Advaitic point. These six are presented, or these 6 point towards identity of Jivatma and Paramatma, Jiva Brahma Ikya, that is Tattvamasi. That is, each passage can have an idea. Say, for example, if the Upanishad is smaller, the central purport, maybe the entire Upanishad may have a purport. But if it is bigger like Chandogya or Brihadaranyaka, each chapter may have a different central purport. But for 4 Vedas, the 4 purports, say for example, for Rigveda, Prajnanam Brahma, for Yajurveda, Aham Brahmasmi, for Samaveda, Tattvamasi, and for Atharvaveda, Ayamatma Brahma are considered to be 4 representative Mahavakyas. They are just representative Mahavakyas, the 4 Vedas. but each will have their own. Say for example, Taittiriya Upanishad also. Sayashchayam Purushe Yaschasa Vaditye Sayekaha. That is considered to be the Mahavakya for Taittiriya Upanishad. Ishanam Bodha Bhavyasya, like that. That is for Kathopanishad. So each Upanishad may have a Mahavakya, that is Mahavakya Ratnavali. Ramachandra Swami, he has also written a book in the 19th century. Okay. So in this way, the purport. But if you look at other systems, they may have different way of looking at the central idea or the core idea. So it may not be what is called Tattvamasi. All the people who do not subscribe to this particular idea, that is Tattvamasi, for example, in the Dvaita system, it is split. Grammatically, it is split as Sa Atma Tattvamasi. So Sa Atma Tattvamasi is split as Akasavarne Dirgha, Savarne Dirgha Sandhi. So they take it and Sa Atma Atattvamasi, they split it in the form of Atattvamasi because there cannot be any identity with for the individual jiva with the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu. That cannot be for any Lord if that matter. So there cannot be any identity with the Lord as well as for the individual jiva. It is Brahman, it is pure consciousness, identity is possible. But Jagat Vyapara Varjam, even Advaitin, the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, the last sutra, Jagat Vyapara Varjam, that is, even though the jiva has attained the mukti, he does not have any position, power in regard to the creation and sustenance and destruction of the world. That is purely the purview of God. That means there is no identity with the God. Identity with Brahman, but not identity with the God. This is the concept of all the people, they agree, but they take that as the prime motion. So in this way, we have to see what are all the essential idea. Say if you look at Visishtadvaita Charma Slokas, they may become important concept. That is the final sloka, Siddhanta, that becomes. So in this way, they can be presented. So now, in order to present the different ideas about jivas, the first sloka Shankara takes up. In the first sloka, he takes up what can be a jiva, or in this way, while presenting what can be jiva, we can also know what are all the ideas of jiva presented by others. Na bhumir, na toyam, na tejaha, na vayuhu, na kham, nendriyam va, na tesham samuhaha, anaikantikatva, sushutyeka siddhaha, tadeko vasishtaha, shivaha, kevalaha, aham. This is the first verse. So tadeko vasishta shiva kevaloham is the final, what is called the idea, or it is the predicate. So this is the predicate, and the other two things, first two lines are the subject, and the third line is the cause. So na bhumihi, the sentence is not just bhumi, na bhumihi aham. So the sentence have to be, because it is parasparadhyasa. That is, the body also is identified with Atman, Atman also is identified with body. So when you say, for example, Padavi Purva Janani Janma Saukhyanam Vardhini Kulasampadam Padavi Purva Punyanam Dikhyate Janma Patrika. So when the child is born, we write Jataka. That is the horoscope. So the story Padavi, Janma Patrika, that is when it is born, and what are its prosperities, all those things. So Janma Patrika is what is called the birth horoscope, date of birth and all those things. Okay, that means this person is born. When you say Atma is eternal, now we refer to the person as being born. So from the date of birth, that becomes very important, especially for people in the government service. Date of birth determines what is their seniority, superiority, and all those things. And then, of course, when the Janma Patrika is there, then Charma Patrika also will be there. So birth and death, both of them are there. So when the birth and death is there, that means the limitations of the body are superimposed on, because body is not I. We are not going to, even though we refer to body as I, always we don't say body as I. Never we say Aham Shariram. So what happens? I is something different. Sometimes we understand different, sometimes we identify. That is, my head is aching, I have stomach ache. When you say I have stomach ache, my head is aching, like that, then you say my body, that is Mama Shariram. So when you say my body, you don't identify yourself with body. But when you say I am tall, I am fat, I am lean, that is, I have gone down. When you say like that, or aham Krishnaha, something like that, if you try to identify yourself in these forms, then you identify yourself with body. But when you say I have a headache, that is, my head is aching, my stomach, I have a problem in stomach, etc., there you say you differentiate your body. So this is where the problem comes. This is Advaitin. Other people don't have much problem here. Advaitins have a problem here. So there is a knowledge of difference between body and self, and identity also is there. So when there is a difference and identity, it becomes adhyaropa. Not adhyaropa in the sense, but it is the basis of Rupakalankara, just like that, Gauna Atma. This is what they say. Because in the Rupakalankara, what happens? We have Adhyavasana and Saropa. Aropa and Adhyavasana. Two types of base we have. Aropa is where both of them are presented, both of them are differ, and both of them are different. The knowledge of difference also is presented, and identity is also presented. So when the Mukha same thing. When you say Mukha, you know Mukham and Chandraha are two different things. We know pretty well they are different, but yet we identify. So when the identity also is there, and the difference, knowledge of difference also is there. So here also between body and Atman, we have the knowledge of difference, because when you say my body, my head, something like that, you understand the difference between body and Atman. But when you say I am white, etc., I am fat in some usage, then you say identity also is there. So this identity cannot be permanent identity. This identity cannot be basic identity. This identity comes after the difference. Hence they say it should be Gaunatma. It is not Mithyatma. This sort of difference, how to identify or how to understand the knowledge between Atman and the body, or the identity between Atman and knowledge, how to identify also is a fundamental difference is there. But Advaitins, they say it is further adhyasa. That is, there is an identity, there is a knowledge of identity between Atman and body. And based on Atman and body, we have a problem of adhyasa. But within adhyasa, there is another adhyasa of the knowledge of difference. So this knowledge of difference creates a problem for us not to have a clear-cut knowledge of identity. So we are not able to proceed further in a proper way. If the identity is there, if the difference is, if there is only one knowledge, it would have been helped us in a way. But there is still, that is, when two mirrors are placed opposite each other, and when you stand in between those two mirrors, there are so many reflections within each mirror, isn't it? Series of reflections. Like that, as you have series of reflection in between two mirrors, this knowledge also between Atman and body also becomes a series of adhyasas, so that causes a problem. So the first thing is what is called the limitations of the body is superimposed on Atman, and Atman's nature of consciousness is superimposed on body. So you consider as I. First can I. We identify our body with I consciousness. That is, we take I body as the basic or the source of I. So what happens? Body comes. Seem to have the Panchikarana. They don't speak of Panchikarana. If you look at what happens, Sankhya Karika, Prakrtir Mahan Mahato Ahankaraha Ahankarat Pancha Tanmatrani. 5 Tanmatras come directly. And from them they come Shodakascha Vikaraha. So you have Vaikarika Ahankara and so many other Ahankaras. They come individually from each and every what is called Bhutas. So when they come from such Bhutas, there don't seem to be, they don't speak of what is called this Panchikarana. The Nyaya also does not speak of Panchikarana. So what happens? The Panchikarana concept is not there. So Pancha Bhautika concept is not there. So they have simply the Bhautika concept. All the things have got the Bhutas. So now what happens? Should we take the Bhutas together or Bhutas individually? Whether Sharira is coming from all the 5 Bhutas together, or Sharira comes from all the 5 Bhutas individually. Do we have 5 Bhutas, 5 Shariras like that? Then the problem is like this. Of course, let us look at the materialistic viewpoint. The materialist, there are 2 types of materials. Some people who I mean, most of all the materialists generally accept Pratyaksha Pramana alone, and then only 4 bhutas. And then for them, Sharirākārena Parinatani Bhutani, Chaitanya Visishta Sharirākārena Parinatani Bhutani. What is Atma? For them, Atma is the 4 bhutas which have what is called converted or transformed into body or evolved into body with consciousness. Consciousness is a byproduct for the materials. Consciousness is the byproduct for the Charvakas. That is the Kinvadivate, Yada Madakatvadivate, as that's a famous example given by them. Say when you take betel leaf, betel nut, and chunna, when you take all the three have different colors. But when you take them together, it turns into red. In the same way, when the 4 bhutas join together, there what is called the consciousness manifests as a byproduct or as a characteristic. So in this way, physical body characteristic is consciousness. So the Sharira or the Jiva is the physical body characterized by the consciousness. So that is, they take it as a physical body. And now they don't accept that which is not seen. That means they accept Pratyaksha Pramana alone. Some of the Charvakas don't accept Anumana Pramana. And now what happens? If you don't accept what you don't see, they don't accept Samyoga. They don't accept Avayavi. Say Avayavatirikta Avayavi. That is all the 4 coming together apart from their individualities. That is the 4 bhutas coming together. That is not possible. So if that is not possible, Sanghata is not possible, and there is no Samhanta, a person uniting all the 4. So the person uniting all the 4 also they cannot subscribe to. The relationship also they cannot subscribe to. And then Avayavi also they cannot subscribe to. So you cannot have Charvakas saying the 4 bhutas giving rise to body. Technically not possible. So Shankara is aware of this technical problem. So Shankara carefully he says, na bhumir na toyam. Even if you were to say individually, say, even we need not say that 4 bhutas come together and the consciousness with as a byproduct, that is the Atma, Chaitanya Visishta Kaya Atma. That we need not say. It is not possible. That he says, okay, let him say, let him assume it. But even individually, it is not possible. Individually, it is not possible to assume the bhutas can give rise to the body. So, na bhumihi aham. I am not bhumi. Aham na bhumihi. Na bhumihi aham. So, parasparadhyasa itself is not possible. That's why he says, aham, na bhumihi aham. The earth is not me. Aham na bhumihi. I am not earth. So this word aham, which is the last word, that should be taken with each and every characteristic proposed as soul. So the Panchabhutas are proposed as soul, Indriyas are proposed as soul, mind and prana are proposed as soul. So with each and everything, the aham is to be associated. First, they have to be taken, the characteristic are to be taken as the subject, and aham is to be taken as predicate. And later, that is to be reversed. Aham is to be taken as subject, and the characteristic are to be proposed as predicate. So, na bhumihi. Bhumihi is the subject here. Na aham. Bhumi is not me. So, bhumi, the subject, aham, the predicate, bhumihi is not me. Later, it is to be reversed. Aham na bhumihi. I am not the earth. So, aham becomes the subject, bhumi becomes the predicate. Of course, always the predicate is with na. So, bhumihi na aham, aham na bhumihi. Toyam na aham, aham na toyam. Tejaha na aham, aham na tejaha. Vayuhu na aham, aham na vayuhu. Like that, all the 4 bhutas independently not, and together also not possible. So, you cannot take the Panchabhutas alone as soul, or the soul as mere Panchabhautika. You cannot take consciousness as the what is called the byproduct of these bhutas, and that you cannot take as Atman. That's not possible. Why? Because there is no abhimana of these bhutas in the Sushupti or Swapna or in other stages. So anaikantikatva, that is the essential reason for all the negations. Anaikantika means, as you know, that they what is called a violation, that which is vyabhicharitva. It is atma means we say are avinashiva arayamatma anuchitti dharma. That is the essential characteristic of atma. Atma is avinashi, because if you don't accept as atma as what is called permanent, then we will not be able to explain the differences in the world. And then the kritahana kritabhyagama prasanga, that is, a person is doing something good or something bad, suddenly he dies. Then all the karmas have become what is called meaningless, workless, and then he will not be enjoying the present. So this is what is presented in the yoga, jatyayir guna the bhoga. So that particular concept we have to accept. Based on that, we have to understand how it is possible. So that is not possible. So if you take Sharira alone, that being what is called impermanent, that being transient, that cannot be identified with permanent Atma. So Avinashiva Areyam Atma, Anuchitti Dharma, that is the essential characteristic, essential definition of Atma, essential nature of Atma. So that means the Atman has to be Anuvritta. It should be available in all the stages. If you identify Sharira with the Atma, then it will be available in all the stages. It should be available in all the stages, but it is not available. It is not available before birth and it is not available after death. And it is not the same thing everywhere. That is in all the three stages during Shaishava, Kaumaravastha, Yuvavastha, and Vardhakya it is not the same. It is undergoing all the six, what is called the Yaska Bhava Vikaras, Bhava Vikara, it is undergoing. So that being the case, Sharira cannot be identified with Atman at all. And not only that, when the knowledge is a byproduct, consciousness is a byproduct, that also cannot be taken as Atma. So na bhumihi, na toyam, na tejaha, na vayuhu. Because the Charvakas don't accept Akasa as what is called a bhutatal, because Akasa is beyond our knowledge. Since it is not an object of knowledge, they don't accept it at all. Since they don't accept it, we speak of only four bhutas alone. There are some Charvakas who accept Akasa, but if it is an accepting Charvaka, then come also will be one of the bhutas, only that much. Okay, hence the Pancha Bhautika, the Sharira cannot be bhutas. That is the essential thing. So na bhumir, na toyam, na tejo, na vayuhu, na kham. And those who do not accept the kham as bhuta, and even if they accept it, that doesn't matter. Kham refers to shunya also. Akasa is what is called sometimes is kham, is zero. Kham is identified zero. And then so what happens? It becomes shunya. When it is interpreted as shunya, then what happens? It becomes madhyamika theory. There is shunyavada's theory. But when you identify it with shunyavada theory, then what happens? There cannot be a problem. That is, shunya means consciousness is not there. It becomes niravadhika. So without consciousness, who will be anattavada, essentially Atma is not view. Because even though some people say body is Atma, Sharira, Chaitanya Vishishta, Kaya, Atma, directly knowledge does not come to body. And the knowledge does not come to body, or through body knowledge we don't get. The knowledge always comes through sense organs. Knowledge comes to, that is, I see, I hear, like that. Knowledge comes only through sense organs. And I walk, I eat, I go. When you say all these things, maybe motor organs also. So through sense organs we get knowledge. Through sense organs we act, and through sense organs we interact. And sense organs may become part and parcel of the body. They are body limbs. So sense organs alone are knowledgeable things. Sense organs alone are knowledgeable things. So sense organs becomes essentially conscious, or have knowledge, or interact. Hence, sense organs alone can be identified with Atma, not mere body alone, or with through sense organs. This is one view. And in that particular view, individual sense organs are considered to be Atma sometimes, and collectively all the sense organs are considered to be Atma. So there are two views. So Nendriyam means the sense organs. So when you say that if Indriyas are, I mean, body is not Atma, but Indriyas are Atma, whether it is individual Indriyas or whether it is collective Indriyas. Nendriyam Nava Tesham Samuha, or not their Samuha collectively. That is, sense organs are collectively not Atma. And when you say Samuha, Anekantikatvat, because sense organs, they don't work in Swapna Avastha. Swapna Avastha, what they say, Indriyanam Laya Swapnaha, Sushuptistu Manolayaha, Gaudapada's definition. So what is Swapna? Where sense organs merge and where sense organs don't work, that is considered to be the Swapna Avastha. And where mind also is not working, that is considered to be Sushupti Avastha. So all these limbs, they don't work in different states. So now what happens? When you say Nastesham Samuhaha, that means you are this particular thing, that is mind and then prana. These things also are not Atman, because mind and prana are bhautikas. We have spoken about bhutas, and indriyam, the sense organs which give knowledge to bhutas. So we have spoken of body, which come from bhuta. But mind and sense organs, they are bhautika. They are also spoken of. So they are also not sense organs. So what happened? Sorry, they are also not Atman. Because sometimes, even though the sense organs are there, sense organs work through mind. Sense organs work through mind. Without mind, anyatra mana bhuvam nadraksham, anyatra mana bhuvam nasrausham. That is, sometimes we are worried. We walk. We are going in the road. Some car or somebody is what is called pressing horn very hard. Our sense organs are working well. We are able to hear well. But our mind is engrossed elsewhere. So when he presses the horn hard, we are not able to hear. He comes very close and then he may shout at us. Do you have, if you want to fall down somewhere, whether you are chosen my car alone, should I undergo all the problem? Why do you choose my car? Why are you coming here? Something like that they shout. So that means what happens? We are not able to hear that properly. It is not hearing impaired. Our mind is engrossed elsewhere. So when your sense organs have to work, mind also has to work. So mind also becomes part and parcel of it. And mind works through sense organs and independently and individually. So mind also can be considered as a consciousness. And yogis, what do? They control their mind. What is yoga? Yoga means yogas chittavritti nirodha. It is control of mind. But their vital air is functioning. So mind can be controlled, vital air is functioning. So mind is considered to be Atma or Jiva, or if the mind is not there, vital airs are considered to be Atma. So body, sense organs, their collection, mind, vital organ, all these things are individually considered as what is called Jiva, but they are not. They are not Jiva. And then next step comes some characteristics. When we are speaking of mind, the characteristic of official schools, Nyaya, Vaiseshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, all those people are coming. We will take it up in the next class about all those people. Hope it would have been what is called somewhat, you would have followed it. I would have presented to you in a understandable way. Thank you very much.
Am I audible?
Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Oh. Yes, ma'am, audible.
Okay, thank you. Sorry that I intervened before you completed. Can we have a small discussion if anyone is interested?
Yeah. Welcome.
Those who want to ask questions can please put on your video and then go ahead.
Patanjali says Mangaladini, Mangala Antani.
Namaste, Mahoday. Namaste.
Sulmo.
Namaste, Mahoday.
Yes, proceed.
Yeah, what is the connection between Brahma Sutra and Dashashloki? Is there any connection between Brahma Sutra and Dashashloki?
The author is same.
Author is the same. But the concept is being taken from Veda Vyasa for Brahma Sutra. Am I right, Mahoday?
Brahma Sutra is by Vedavyasa. Badarayana Vedavyasa. If you identify Vyasa and Badarayana are one and the same, then Brahma Sutra is by Vyasa. If you subscribe, both of them are different.
Yeah, but Shankara have written Bhashyam for Brahma Sutra.
It is all Vedantic works. Brahma Sutra discusses some of the Upanishadic statements and what is their significance. What is the real significance of those statements? How they have got Samanvaya in Brahman and how they are related to what is called the supreme idea of moksha or Atmacha Brahma, all those concepts. Through some of the Upanishadic statements, that particular idea is presented in Brahma Sutra. And since it is Sutra Praya, that is, it is aphoristic, very, very nuanced and subtle, which what sentence is taken up, just by reading a sutra, you will not be able to know what sentence in which, from which Upanishad is being discussed, how the discussion proceed, how the discussion is, Purvapaksha is developed, how it is answered. All these things, it may not be possible for all the people to know. So those people who can read it easily are those people who can bring out those nuances or those ideas or unravel the mysteries in the sutras. And they write down that mysteries elaborately, the way in which we can understand. They become Bhashyakaras. And there are about 27 Bhashyakaras or so. Shankara is one of them. There are some pre-Shankara Bhashyakaras too. Okay, now this is how Brahma Sutra is. And that idea, according to Shankara, Brahma Sutra is essentially Advaitic in notion. According to Ramanuja, it is Visishta Advaitic. According to Purna Prajna, it is Dvaitic. According to Sri Kanta, it is Shiva Advaitic. Sri Kara, it is Veerasaivism. Like that, there are so many Vijnana Bhikshu and other people also have written. So many notions for Brahma Sutras. So Shankara being an Advaitin, as he had written Brahma Sutra Bhashya, that is in the Advaitic way, his Dasasloki also has got Advaitic notion.
Ah, that's what. Yeah. Even here, the way in which you have given your prasanga was excellent about the Brahma and the Chaitanya. It was beautiful. And thank you so much, sir. Mahan dhanyavadaha eva. Dhanyosmi vayam sarve.
Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha, Mahoday.
Any other questions from the audience? We will have to close it by 6 o'clock. So those who want to raise the questions, please come forward. Is there anyone?
Hello, Professor Srinivasan. Thank you for your excellent scholarly presentation.
Hello.
Murali Madhavan
Thank you very
speaking.
much. I know, in spite of your problem, you are present here. Thank you.
From the very beginning, I was a listener, and
Yes, sir.
you have spoke everything under the sun in Vedanta, in one shloka itself. Even tada, tvam, tada, everything you have explained. I think nothing left remain unexplained. I think so. I think I am audible.
You are audible, but somewhere I think
Yeah.
Professor is stuck.
Yeah. Some problem. So now I have Professor Srinivasan was actually I am a Sadirthya of Srinivasa. We both studied under the great mastermind of Vedanta, the great Mahaguru Kalyana Sundar Shastrigal in Vivekananda College.
Yeah.
And he succeeded me, and he continued in Vivekananda College as a teacher. I left Madras University and they came here and joined in Rashtriya Sansthan like that. Whatever it may be, the scholarly presentation. See, I am very proud and very happy to see that the International Sri Shankara School is in the right track after a long time. They have started. They have started the work under the leadership of Dr. Srikala Nair and her team. They are working in the proper track, and they have selected such works which will be beneficial to the mankind as a whole, not for Vedanta students. Even an ordinary man with minimum literacy, they can follow these lectures. They are so simple. See, even I have seen the explanations. I know Professor Srinivasan for several decades, how however the subject may be so tough, he explains it in a very simple way. That is really what you mean by scholarship.
Exactly.
The toughest subject explained in a simplest way, in a very simple, lucid language. So that is the style of Shankara. And I think Professor Srinivasan has imbibed that quality. And he uses a foreign tongue for explaining all these technical words and technical aspects. So it is wonderful. I have the way in which you explained about the Anuvritti and this what we call the other vritti?
Vyavritti.
Vyavritti, yes. Anuvritti and Vyavritti, and the way in which how you explained what is Vastu and how you negate all avastus, and Vastu Sachidananda Madhvayam Brahma, how it can be explained. All these things, even for an ordinary man can follow without any difficulty. This should be the way of teaching, explaining things in a very simple way, which can be very easily understood and grasped by the students, and even by an ordinary layman. So I think this should continue. Our Dr. Srikala, I have a request that you have to take such a text, and there should be textual workshops.
Yeah.
They should study from the primary source, not secondary sources. The students should depend upon primary sources. They should hear from the very horse mouth. It should be adhikarika. So I am very happy that this should continue. I think this is the first class. We have more classes. I hope I can attend the other classes also. Actually, several times I became a student of Srinivasan also, because when he was giving lectures on Mimamsa and other things, I used to, when I was in Shankaracharya University for a long time, on 3 decades as a professor and head, I used to invite him to my department to give lectures on Sahitya Shastra, Mimamsa Shastra, even sometimes Vedanta Shastra. So he came several times on my invitation. So it is a very happy occasion, and I am very happy and proud to witness the activities of the Sri Shankara International School. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that great encouragement. We are really looking forward from a senior professor like Professor Murli Madhavan, who himself is doing a lot through Kantalur Shala. We are all, in fact, doing, the goal is the same, and then the routes are different. So we are all same exercise. And then, of course, they are masters, they are leaders, and we are young and novice who know very, very little on this great tradition that we have. So thank you so much, Professor Madhavan. And do we have other questions? Do we have any other question from those who have been hearing the class? If not, then I have a couple of instructions to hand over to the participants. Primarily, I request all of you to regularly attend the rest of the classes. We have 4 more days to complete the course. So in fact, this is a course, and you will be issued a certificate, an e-certificate, which will have an international credit. Of course, these days you need certificates, and it will be graded to local, national, and international. So you are going to get an international certificate, and at the end of the course, we will also provide you a small questionnaire consisting of roughly 10 questions based on the talk that has been delivered by Professor Srinivas, and it will be very simple. It's multiple choice. So it is just to enthuse you, and it's not even compulsory that you should write. And those who are interested in answering the questionnaire could go ahead and answer the questions. And I also request all of you to get logged in, say 5 minutes or 3 minutes before the class, and the classes will be held on, the dates on which the classes are going to be held. So you please log in at least 5 minutes or 3 minutes before the session starts, so that it's a logical argument that he is trying to place before you. Therefore, in order to get the continuity of the argument, you'll have to be from the start. And we are, as Professor Madhavan has said, we are paying homage to those great masters. So it's a kind of Runa, Guru Runa that we are paying. So let us do it with all sincerity that we can. And International School for Sri Shankaracharya Studies is greatly indebted to you in doing those mighty task of bringing forth the original works of Acharya Shankara. I am immensely grateful to the masterminds who are present here. And I am extremely grateful to Professor Srinivasan, who has responded to my invite. Probably he would have understood the sincerity and commitment with which I'm undertaking this task. We as a group, I should be saying, me and my colleagues in the school, and extremely happy that we have a mastermind who handle this text, which carries all the fundamentals of Advaita Vedanta. So once again, greetings from ISSS. Thank you, Professor Srinivasan, for the day, and we log out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.